Welcome to State of the Matters. I am Cassie Thoni, joined by our analyst Kings Ojalo. Today we'll bring you the latest breaking news across Nigeria, from urgent update to insightful analysis. We'll guide you through the stories that matter. Now let's get started. Anambra hosts top leaders as Soludo takes oath of office. Umahi dismisses allegations of negligence in Ebonyi engineers' killings. We'll go on a short break now. When we return, we'll dive in. Stay with us. Looking at the current reforms in the state, I'm talking about the market demolition, the crackdown on some native doctors, strong security operations, restrictions, also affecting traders and street users, and then the persistence of insecurity in some parts of the state, economic hardship, unemployment being the major challenge. Ojalo, do you think that Soludo's government has transformed the state enough to deserve a second term? You know, Soludo was elected into office, that's 17th of March 2022. And today being 17th of March 2026 is his 4 years in office. Yes, and now he's being inaugurated again for the second term. So do you think his government actually deserves this second term?
Well, first of all, I will congratulate the governor as coming in as interim governor again, the second time, as an interim governor. And I also saw the likes of great delegates talking about our former president, Goodluck Jonathan, and former military president and also civilian president Olusegun Obasanjo, and also the likes of the vice president Shetima, who was present, and also high delegates. It was a transparent ceremony and really took shape recently in Anambra State. Now, I think, as your question, the high cost of living, closing down markets, shrines, and then so many other actions taken by the Anambra State governor. Well, I think it's a move in order to bring out a new policy that will reshape Anambra. But nevertheless, I think the governor should attend or ascertain to some other important amenities and important projects that will really positively affect the well-being and lives of Anambra State. In the aspect of going about closing that shrine, well, it's a good one because most of these individuals who are in operations of these so-called shrines and thereabout has also implemented negatively. In the states, I could see most of these herbalists being arrested because many of them has made youths not to contribute positively. Some of the youths go there and they try to initiate them into one or two activities that at the long run they cause nuisances to the society. In the aspect of shutting down markets, you could recall where he made the proclamation of this warning them, sit-at-home order given to the people of Anambra by non-political actors, that is the Biafra agitators. As a governor, he has really come out to take his stand, being the first man of that state and that economy, to make sure that his order goes beyond any other institution. Now, it's a good one. I really commend Governor Soludo for it, but Governor Soludo, please, I think I really want to commend you to please do more. The Anambra people are really in need of so many things that really benefit them, rather than trying to create some policies. You understand? We know that these policies are effective, but we are looking at projects that will really benefit the state of Anambra. Projects like the Ogidi flood control project that has been criticized on that at Aqua Onitsha Old Road for a time and it has been abandoned. Please, the governor should look into it. What about the second airport? If I pronounce the name well, yes, that he has promised in his second term that he is going to inaugurate and create. Please, Governor Soludo, I think you should really address that airport, at least to ease commercial movement in the southeast, you understand? And also the Onitsha main market reopening, yes. He also talked about making sure it is well renovated and opened swiftly, because it has been shut down due to it. So I think there should be a swift move and a quick move concerning that market inauguration. Now, Legacy Road, it should be done, you know, which was 200 billion was deposited into it. Please, it should be done swiftly. And also constituency base for the governors and other high stakeholders to use.
Ojalo, the question was, does his government deserve this second term? Looking at the demolition of markets, the insecurity, the hardship in the economy, in the states, hardship, no job, people are suffering, people are no longer going to the markets, because before he started this demolition of markets, the markets as the traders, they've invested so much into this market before he carried out all of this.
Yes.
Now, do you think his government, looking at all of these things, do you think he deserves second term? That was the question that was asked.
I think it's this is not the first time a city governor is going for another term, but I think he deserves it, and in this second term, it's a means in which he has to put everything appropriately in terms of that demolition you just asked, and also the so-called insecurity, which he has assured them. Looking at the current inauguration, he stated it. So I think this is the medium. He
stated it, the ongoing,
yes,
or the previous?
This ongoing.
But in the previous inauguration, he said the same thing. And there was no result.
And I think it's a means for him in which he's going to carry out the task to finish those projects for the well-being of Anambra people. So I think he deserves it. And again, it's for him, the project in which he has started. Because if peradventure someone else was installed as the governor of Anambra State, there is no account in which that person will finish that project. Yes, that has been the mindset of our governors all over Nigeria. A project is being inaugurated in a particular state, and another interim governor comes in, and another governor rather comes into power. Those projects are abandoned.
They don't have continuity.
Yes, exactly. So it is best, and I think he deserves it for him to, make sure that this project which he has launched, which he has promised the people of Abia, be concluded by his mandate as a governor of Anambra State.
Okay, lastly, before we move away from this particular discussion, you made mention that the vice president, as Kazim Shettima, is there in the event. My question is it really necessary for the vice president to be at that event when lives in Maiduguri are suffering? People they just lost a huge number of people. They are dying. The president is not even in the country to even start with. And he, as the vice, he's supposed to be there, sympathizing with this victim's family, rather than being in that inauguration. Is the inauguration more important than the lives of those victims who has experienced this unfortunate tragedy?
Well, I really appreciate you for that question, Cassie. Now, looking at the tragedy that happened in Maiduguri, recently the president, even before his departure, ordered those service chiefs to make sure the move to that region of Nigeria, to that state, not just to conciliate, not just to give condolences, and also to secure the state. Well, in the aspect of the vice president, if you in our previous section, segment, I talked about that. Look, our president, neither his vice, the two of them working head to head. So neither his vice do really have a redundancy concerning the insurgencies and the banditry happening in the country. You understand? They feel, there are more other delegates. I'm talking about other personnel and high stakeholders who can handle it. You understand? It's because it's unfortunate. And even the country the country that the president is even heading towards, that is the UK, I believe the heads of those, or the prime minister and thereabout, have seen the situation. I think if them too were really in good subordinate, they would have also at least cautioned the president, you are having some serious tragedy in your country. Why don't you settle this first before, or maybe there should be a postponement? So I'm not trying to say the UK is not developed, but I know for the fact that if something like that happened in the UK, the Prime Minister or any high-profile political personnel would definitely take swift action and maybe cancel any kind of invitation. So it's a full, it's a clear view, Cassie, it's a clear view that presidents don't have good rumors about this current insurgency situation. So it's unfortunate that the vice president will be in an event, being the second man in the country, while people are dying in Maiduguri.
Ojalo, if your house is on fire,
yes,
and you want to go and visit your friend, you know your house is burning and you're going to visit your friend, and your friend says, okay, don't come to my house, stay and tackle the problem in your house is on fire, quench the fire in your house before coming to my house. Will you be happy about that?
Why won't I be happy that my friend has advised me?
Doesn't want you to come.
No. A reasonable person. I'm not saying the president is unreasonable. If whichever way wants to take it. But
that's how it plays out to be.
But a reasonable person, you don't need your friend to tell you. An individual who really has his household at hand doesn't need his friend to point that situation to him at that moment, to say, okay, your house is on fire. You understand? So to tell you that our leaders, as I have usually said it, that these people are not so remote, they don't care about the lives of citizens. All they just care about is their well-being and their personality, which is already showcasing. Giving orders to military heads to take charge of the situation shows that indeed our president don't really give a damn about the current insecurity crisis. Because if he does by now, for in his fourth year in seat, by now this thing would have been a bygone situation. So it's a clear fact, and Nigeria should know this and have peace. So that is why, if you take note, I usually say that the lives of Nigeria are in their hands. You understand? Even the so-called military army that have been sent to the war front, their lives are not even guaranteed. So that is just the clear fact here.
All right, away from that to the unfortunate situation that happened in November 2021 at Ebonyi, Abakaliki State. 5 engineers working for a consulting firm supervising the Abakaliki Ring Road project were reportedly adopted by gunmen in one Effiong community. This area is already, the area, according to report, is already tense area where killings and destruction of properties are being carried out. They are having issues in that particular community. And before the engineers arrive at that site, there was already a lot of chaos in that place. Now, the governor knows that this particular location is not safe for these people. He knows there are constant fighting, killings and destruction of so many things. He knew that this place is not safe for these people. As a governor, someone who has the interest of the people at heart, shouldn't he have brought out enough security personnel to safeguard these people coming to supervise this construction project that was happening in that particular state? Now, I want to ask you, Ojalo, do you think that the state government should have secured the lives of those people enough for them not to have faced that unfortunate tragedy that happened to them?
First, Cassie, the tragedy you are talking about, I don't think is enough occurrence that would have taken the lives of those 5 engineers by the name Nelson Onyeme, that is the lead consultant, Ernest Ediani, and also Ikechukwu Ojiafo, and also we have Samuel Eneka and Stanley Owozulu. Now, these 5 individuals, disappearance was made known on the on the 3rd of November 2021. You understand? To supervise the project of that ring road project there in that area, of that worth $150. So first of all, looking at the tragic things that has been happening in that locality of Ebonyi State, that has been the alleged result of the death and instant burial or just as the state governor proclaimed it to be, of these 5 individuals, I think is an understatement. It's just unfortunate that the so-called agencies, or like the DSS and other agencies, has not really taken swift action to really go deep into this matter. In the lives of, you asked me if, as the city governor, is it not his responsibility to make sure that the lives of the people, most especially this engineer, are safe, knowing fully well that that community has been in an high risk. Because if you could recall, Umuahi, you know, in this case, is more or less a suspect. Yes. In 2026 alone, I can count the number of cases, or let me say probably the late December stroke, prior to this time, now 2026, I can count the number of cases that has been raised, allegations that have been raising on our dear minister, David Umahi. You could recall where he had, you know, an interview on Arise TV with a very news anchor by the name, what's his name, el-rufai. You know, yes, where he was asked about, you know, the Lagos Calabar Coastal Way and how the money was spent. You know, it turned into a dramatic fight between him and the anchor, because knowing full well that those people are trying to expose his misuse of that fund. Now, he also had a dispute in the Senate conference meeting where he was asked about this Sokoto Badagry, I think was it Niger Badagry Express Road project. He couldn't give a quick answer. Now, we could recall where Ohiri raised an allegation against him, although that one she flopped in one way or the other, and she came back again, started apologizing to Nigeria. You know, so many allegations. Okay, now look at this one. Now, I think this happened when he was a sitting governor in 2021, and now the case closed. And 5 years. This is 5 years now.
Yeah,
or
getting to 5 years.
5 years. 5 years.
By November, it will be 5 years.
Thank you. And now the case has been risen again to tell you that there is something fishing that case might have died. And the worst part of it, giving out this information was not even on live broadcast. He did it on internet. That was when most of, even the wife, if you look at the protest video, many of them said that was how they heard about their husband missing. You understand? Their children asked, "Mommy, where's my daddy?" And thereabout. So you could see that Umahi himself, even as a sitting governor, even from when he was a deputy governor to a sitting governor, now a minister, he has, you know, he's not competent to be in the rulership, you know. And this happened in the time of our late President Buhari. You understand? So, you know, Umahi, to be honest, I will state the fact, he's not fit. You know, this individual should not be classified as a leader. Should not be seen in a political forum of a democratic country like Nigeria. Let's be honest, because he is rubbishing the how will I put it? He is rubbishing the image of our political system, and most especially the president himself should see this and know that even him as a president, that this individual is giving him bad reputation. That is what the president is failing to do. You understand? I think this should call for a total intervention, not just the DSS, high-stake institutions, security task force that are related to this. The whereabouts of this individual, okay, even the so-called cops that they brought out were not recognized. They said they went for DNA test, and the family discovered that this did not match with their husband's blood.
Ojalo, when you mentioned that the president is failing to recognize all of this, you don't expect the president to judge him when he is already not like entirely innocent, because you can only cast a stone at someone when you know that you are guilty free. So for the president not to take any action or caution him, it means that they are both birds of the same feathers. That
is attached to what I'm saying. And secondly, a president has the right. Okay, we could see some minister who, okay, there was a minister, one of the minister who was asked to leave his position because of forgery or thereabout. Now, this is beyond forgery. This is a means whereby our political system and our governmental activities in Nigeria is being rubbished by one individual in so many devastated ways. So what am I talking about in essence is, yes, I know definitely is an ally to the president, and the president would not want to, you know, make sure he's put down in any form. But we are looking about someone who is constantly, you know, going against the law in so many ways. I am not saying that is the cause of this death, but under your administration as a governor, this menace happened. and you cannot give proper account of, then you are a suspect. Let's be honest. Then you are a suspect. So I'm calling on governors, officials, security personnel who has the mind and the willpower to interrogate anyone in any political position to make sure that the whereabouts, even if dead or alive, these people are discovered in one way or the other. We could see they are fathers, for crying out loud. They are people's husband, going on the street protesting all the way from Abuja to Eboyi just to make sure that a particular project is well mandated, and at the long run, come on, it's uncalled for.
And
5 years.
And in this case, in this case, I actually think that Umahi should have prioritized
and the so-called organization who appointed them, that is the African Development Bank, that AFBD, who make sure that they go about to delegate this road Abalike road project, even came out to say that they make sure that these individuals, these engineers, are given to the governor and must cater for their well-being. So you could see that this concern, because even the engineers gave report that the governor has continuously been interfering in this project and wants to know the cost route of the project continuously. So we could see the trace of it. So definitely, it's a full clear show that indeed this so-called minister knows what is going on behind the scene on this situation.
And the victims' family said they were not even aware until
because
they heard the announcement.
Evidence.
Yes, they heard the announcement
yes.
that the people there, that those 5 boys, those 5 men were
yes.
already killed and then buried. Now, no evidence of their body, no evidence of where they have been buried. So every accusing finger is actually pointing to the minister.
That is what I'm saying.
Because
late 2021, he publicly announced that the engineers has been killed and buried based on confession
without
from
arrested
suspects.
And there was no thorough search. He just made the announcement that they were killed before even carried out search.
Exactly.
Which is very wrong. So
I'm calling on the because honestly speaking, you could see the mourning and crying of the family of this individual. So I'm calling on all stakeholders and the president himself to please ask his minister questions. This situation should not just die like that. You understand? So, and again, our president, President Tinubu, he's not, Nigerians don't even rely on him in so many ways. But please, president or high stakeholders, when you are appointing individuals, know who you are appointing. No matter your kind of personality, these people coming out, being appointed in one position to another, rubbishing our society, placing bad image on Nigeria political affair is getting out of hand every day. Before he came into this ministerial position, someone took over this position. I think the likes of the former governor of Lagos State. He has been doing it without any allegations raised against him. Then why is it that the time of our dear David Umahi, that different allegations, different fingers are pointing to him, is not like a Bruce Lee in the political.
The allegation is it due to the fact that he is Minister of Works?
That is what I'm saying. We had Fashola, who was the former Minister of Work. Why was Fashola not why was fingers not pointed at Fashola in different form? Why has he not been accused? Why has he not been given allegations in one way or the other? Why?
Perhaps he didn't have any.
To show you that this man, David Umahi, is guilty in this aspect. So let's state the fact here.
He's guilty as charged.
So coming out to deny it, because he has come out to debunk it, that he doesn't know how it happened, but they were pronounced dead and they were buried. Okay, they were buried. Bring the corpse out. Instead, they brought out a fake corpse.
Or even show where they were buried.
Exactly. So I think there should be total interrogation on this matter, and it should not just die like that. Or else, Nigeria should know that, look, no life are safe, even in the hands of our so-called leaders.
I hope the president actually reacts on this.
Of course, he reacts on it when he has traveled to London to go and see our dear King Charles, leaving those who are being slaughtered and killed currently in Maiduguri.
That's it for today's edition of State of the Matters. Many thanks, Ojalo, for
Thank you
joining
for
us.
having me, Cassie.
And to you, amazing viewers, for tuning in. I am Cassie Tony, reminding you to stay informed and stay ahead. Do well to join us next time for more breaking news across Nigeria. Do have a lovely day.